So Miles, Ogilvy has just launched a new report entitled Velocity 12. Can you tell us a little bit about this report?
It's actually a report about where the new middle class consumers of the future are going to come from, the next billion consumers. It's very interesting because in the past, people like Goldman Sachs have used BRIC or civets or other such terms to define the markets, which seem to suggest that you should invest in them. We don't think they're good enough any longer, and our methodology is consumption based. So what we've done is to look at where the people, the numbers, are going to come from in the future. It's produced a very different sort of index. For instance, the country which is going to give the most middle class new members to the world is India, almost 400 million new members of the middle class in the next 10 years. That's amazing. But other countries that people don't normally think about, Pakistan, Indonesia, Bangladesh, are also producing very large numbers of people. China is still producing a lot of people. So this is an index which rather shifts one's perceptions of where the growth in the world is going to come from.
Miles, what does this mean for companies here in Japan? What kind of things are the implications for them?
There are a number of very interesting implications, I think. The first is, where do you prioritise your investments? And Japan is relatively weak in terms of investing in South Asia, for instance, which we suggest is a place of enormous importance in the future. But also understanding the velocity which exists in terms of lifestyles. So if you look at these countries, for instance, one of the most important factors about them is that they all contain a lot of Muslims. We've done a lot of work looking at what we call Muslim futurists, who have a very different view about life and about brands and about how they behave to non-Muslims. So Japanese companies need to invest some time in understanding them. It's also very true that consumers in these V12 markets are not homogenous. They're not the same. And what we found is that if push comes to shove, there are a large number of them who still prefer local brands. So it means that if you're a Japanese multinational, you're competing not just against other multinationals, but you're competing against strong local brands. In order to do that effectively, you've got to be nimble, you've got to be fast, you've got to understand the consumers much more intuitively, and you've got to have what we call foresight. These are all things which I think are relevant to Japanese companies thinking about the future.
And Miles, if you have one message to Japanese companies as they download and read this report, what would it be?
Put aside your preconceptions about what the world's going to look like in the future. The future growth is going to be female, it's going to be connected, it's going to be Muslim, and it's going to be urban. That is the caricature of what the future is going to be like. So you have to think of that and then develop your strategies around it.
Thank you. It sounds like a very interesting read for our readers.
Thank you very much. Thank you.